After-hours response services is an integral part of the service delivery at KSCS. But when the needs of the community change, how should service delivery change? That's the question behind the just-announced review of KSCS's after-hours response services. We spoke with Cheryl Zacharie, the Manager of Support Services, and Terry Young, a facilitator with Organizational Strategic Development, to find out more.
So after-hours response service is an emergency response service that takes place after hours. So from 4 o'clock in the afternoon until 8 o'clock the next morning, we have 2 on-call workers who will respond to emergencies whenever called in through the peacekeepers or through the clinical supervisors who are on staff during the day. After-hours response services has been in effect probably since about 1995, and even before that in a different form. But in 1995 it was set up as a more formal service, and at that time it was set up to be response to youth protection matters. As we've evolved in services, we've also evolved in after-hours response, and so now we have 2 workers who are responding to emergencies that are outside of youth protection concerns. So maybe there might be mental health issues, there might be addictions issues, there might be family violence issues that they have to respond to. So I guess the context has grown. So now we're looking at how do we best enhance the services so that we can meet all of the needs. The reality is we have 2 people who are on 24 hours a day essentially, and when they're on vacation, then we have to rely on other caseworkers to fill in for them. In addition, because of the special mandate for youth protection, we're not always able to fill the clinical supervision with somebody other than a youth protection clinical supervisor. What that means is our clinical supervisors are working pretty much 365 days a year to be on call to do the supervision of the after-hours response workers. So we're looking at how do we best, I guess, revamp the program if we need to meet the needs of the community, but also to meet the needs of the staff who are doing the work.
We were approached by Support Services as Organizational Strategic Development to do a full or comprehensive review of the after-hours response services. So the approach that we're going to take is initially we have developed the terms of reference that we've received approval from the preliminary steering committee, which was made up of the Director of Family Services as well as the Manager of Support Services, which is Cheryl. And we developed from there a framework to say, how are we going to approach this? So the first step being the steering committee. So we've established a steering committee made up of a number of people that we've think have an important role to play and can provide us with enough information to be able to fill in the information that we're going to need around after-hours response. So with that steering committee, we will be developing a number of different tools that we're going to be using. First case scenario will be that we're working with staff one-on-one as well as previous staff, so doing interviews with them, sitting down with them, getting to pick their brain for some time. The second component that we're going to be looking at is we'll be developing a survey possibly that will be going out to maybe specific people. If they don't have time for the one-on-ones, we might have a questionnaire that they can fill out and give us enough information with. We're also going to be looking at creating networks with our partners and community members. So we'll be approaching specific partners in the community and doing, again, one-on-ones with them or providing them with questionnaires to complete. We will also be possibly in the near future doing focus groups. So we'll be putting out a call to the community to invite people to come and participate in a focus group to allow them to give their understanding, to give their experience and maybe what it was like having services from the after-hours response. Also just to give us a better grasp of what the community's perspective is on it. So it's going to be a wide gamma of people that we're going to be interviewing, but we will be getting information out into the community to make sure that they're aware of what these processes are going to look like and how they can actually participate in the review. We're shooting to have the review completed by the end of September, early October, and then we'll be presenting that information, the final report, back to the steering committee as well as to the directors and to the management and then the community at large. If anybody has any specific questions, say with regards to after hours, they can contact Cheryl directly here at KSCS. But if they want to have questions around participating, then it would be best to contact me directly, either through email or through contacting the office directly.
Just to clarify that there's going to be 3 areas that we're looking at. So one is going to be the resources, and we already have 2 people. Do we need more? Do we not need 2 people? The reality is we probably do, but we need to have justification of that. The other thing is we're going to be looking at the operations. So how does it work? How do we do the scheduling? How does the payment work? How does all of that work in terms of supervision and who's on and who's not and all of that kind of stuff? Because we also want to make sure that we're following, labor laws and things like that. And then finally, what's the impact that this is going to have? Because like I said, when we started doing after hours response, which at the time was on-call services, the peacekeepers called us whenever they needed us, and it was specifically for YP issues, youth protection issues. Now it's evolved, and there's so many social issues that that we're addressing that we want to make sure that we're continuing to offer these services, but how do we do them in a way that's most effective and efficient?
Thanks for watching the KSCS Insider. I'm Marie David.